All right. So here we are. Welcome back, Algebros. This is our review for the test. This is our draft. The first question right here is what is true about this following function? We have 6x squared minus 7x, 17x plus 7 divided by 7x minus 3. Well, I can do a little long division here. Can somebody grab the door? I can do a little long division here. I can put 6x minus 17x plus 7 in my box. I can put 3x minus 7. I know I need to multiply this 2x times. So this is going to end up being 6x squared minus 14x. I'm going to subtract all of that. When I subtract my negative, it turns into a positive. So this cancels. I end up with 3x being left, and it's plus 7. So what do I need to multiply to go into that? Well, I need to multiply by a negative 1. That'll give me my negative 3x minus 7. Distribute. Cancels completely, so I have a remainder of 0. So my quotient is the answer to the problem, right? It's the answer to a division problem. So the quotient is 2x minus 1, right? The quotient will be a binomial degree 2. No, degree 2 means quadratic, right? No, wrong quotient, none of the above, that's off, right? So that's number 1. Did everybody get that?
Can you go back? Oh, wait.
No, I can't go back. You can watch the video. All right, we'll just go on to the second one. Sorry. Pause it. Rewind and pause it for those of you listening at home. I'm trying to get through quite a bit of these. All right, so this one. Now I have some fractions. I need to multiply them. They're two binomials. This one is 1/2 p plus 3. And this one is 3/2 p plus 1. Now, one thing I could do here is I could go in here and I could multiply to try to get rid of these denominators. I'm just going to work with fractions because it's not that bad. So here, 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. So I get 3/4 p squared. Over here, this should be a 1. I get my 1/2 p. Over here, 3/2 times 3. Well, that turns into 9/2 p. And then I do 3 times 1, so I get 3. So right away, I check to make sure I got 3's on all of those. I do. I add up these halves. So that leaves me with 10/2 p or 5p. So the second one needs to be 5. So you can eliminate everything there. And then, of course, I do have 3/4 p. So all together, it'll be 3/4 p squared plus 5p, because 9/2 and 1/2 make 10/2, which makes 5 plus 3. All right. So all I have to do is multiply. FOIL. You could use the box. I like the box. Right? You got to work with a little bit of fractions here. Not a big deal. Kind of a review question from previous units. Thank you. All right, so this one. This is, it looks kind of like a difference of squares, but it's not. All we need to do is undistribute here. So I need to get what's in common over here. And if I divide in my calculator, I realize I can take out a 7. And when I do, if I take out a 7 from 35, I'm left with 5m squared. If I take out a 7 from 63, I'm left with a minus 9. So that is all that we had to do there. Now, the reason B is wrong, somebody be like, why is B wrong? They took out a negative 7. Well, if you took out a negative 7, right, you would end up with a negative 5m if it was a negative 7. So that one cannot be it. All right, take out the positive 7. Just factoring by undistributing. All right, we can go to the next one. All right, now factoring with a leading coefficient, right? This is our baby in the corner method. I like blue. So we're going to take our A, we're going to multiply it by our C. This is going to give us x squared minus 25x plus 126, right? I take that 2 and then I put it down here in the corner. I'm gonna bring it in at the end. So I have a negative, then a positive. So I know both of these have to be negative. That's the only way I can get to a positive. So I'm gonna look at what times what equals 126, knowing both of them have to be negative and they need to add up to 25. So 26, 126. Let me see, can I see someone's calculator real quick? Get these numbers. I got a feeling it's gonna be 18 and something. 126 divided by 18 gives me 7. Negative 18, negative 7. That adds up to negative 25. So those are my numbers. So I put 18, I put 7. Then I bring back, I want my baby back, baby back. All right, bring back your baby. This turns into x minus 9 times x minus 7 halves. Now, how do I get rid of this little denominator where I can multiply this whole one by 2, this parentheses? So that becomes 2x minus 7. So I have x minus 9 times 2x minus 7. All right, so just factoring with a leading coefficient, right? Put your baby in the corner, bring it back. All right, make sure you can get rid of your denominator of that fraction by multiplying that parentheses only by that. All right, we'll move on to the next one, number 5. Which function is equivalent to x squared plus 15x minus 54? All right, this is an easy one. All I have to do is break this down. I have to factor it, right? I'm looking at negative 54. All right, so I know I'm gonna have a negative and a positive. I need it to add up to 15. So right away, I'm dividing 54. What's 54 divided by 9? Well, that's 9 and 6. All right, so if I did a negative 9, a positive 6, that would give me a negative 3. So that can't work. What about 54 divided by 18? Well, that's 3. So if I did a negative 18 and a positive 3, well, that would give me a negative 15. It's not what I want. So let's do a positive 18 and a negative 3. That gives me the positive 18. So I'll do x plus 18, x minus 3 as my two factors. You could check it in the box to make sure. You could go by your answer choices and FOIL to make sure as well. Answer here is B. That is the factors of that trinomial. All right, so basic factoring on that one, right? Kind of a review, pretty easy. All right, keep going. Next question. All right, now we get to another basic one. Which expression is equivalent to x squared minus 17x minus 60? Well, what are my factors of negative 60? Well, negative 60, right? I need to add up to a negative 17. One needs to be negative, one needs to be positive. All right, you could look at the answer choices and check it out. Well, so if I have a negative 20 and a positive 3, oh, that gives me a negative 17, right? So you could FOIL, but your factors are going to be x minus 20 and x plus 3. All right, I don't think y'all should have any problem with the basic factoring ones. Put these on here just as a review. All right, continue. All right, another baby in the corner one. All right, so 6 times 5. First thing, multiply your A times C, 6 times your 5, you get 30. All right, so this becomes x squared plus 13x plus 30. And then you have your 6, your baby, you put down here in the corner. This is gonna factor into x plus 10 and x plus 3. All right, 10 times 3 makes 30. 10x and 3x makes 13x. So now I bring my 6 back in, my baby, right? So I get x plus 10 divided by 6 times x plus 3 divided by 6. So this can reduce to x plus 5 over 3. And this can reduce to x plus 1/2. Now I need to get rid of those denominators, so I multiply by 3 over here. So I can get 3x plus 5. And then I can multiply by 2 over here, and I can get 2x plus 1. So 2x plus 1, 3x plus 5. So that's just factoring with the leading coefficient. This unit's a lot of factoring. If you can do that, right, you're going to get some problems right on the SAT and on a lot of different tests. Those are always considered the hard problems when you have that leading coefficient. All right, continue. Another one with a leading coefficient? Jeez. This is a lot of factoring. All right, 2 times 4. So here you get 8. Oh yeah, it's because it's what that last year's group didn't do well. So I get x squared plus 7x plus 8 with my 2 down here in the corner. Well, what is this factor? What times what is going to equal 8? Add up to 7.
8 and 1.
So, but it's a positive 8.
Oh, yeah.
So it is,
8 negative 1.
but it's a positive 8. And they should both be positive, right? It doesn't. This one doesn't factor. None of these. None of these. This one doesn't factor. I don't know. Maybe I did that just to be mean. Might get rid of this one. Alright. But hey, that one doesn't factor. Doesn't work. There's nothing that's going to get to you a 7 that's going to be both positive. So if you put that in the calculator, right, you wouldn't have any x-intercepts. It would all be imaginary. So no imaginary options, right? None of these. All right, continue. Let's get into some polynomials. All right, difference of squares, right? Difference of squares is just a squared, my 2 is not very good, minus b squared, right, is going to automatically factor to a plus b times a minus b. So I just have to figure out what my a and my b is. Well, here, I know my a is going to be a 3n, because I can square that. My b is going to be a 5. I can square that. So now this is just going to be 3n plus 5 times 3n minus 5. Boom. All right. So, a lot of factoring at the beginning of this test, sprinkled out through. If you can do it, you'll have a way leg up. Let's see what we get into some polynomials. Go to the next one. All right. Last one before we get into those that are on the review. Create a factor for the expression 2x squared minus x minus 3. Not all answers will be used. So, need to factor it. 2 times 3. So I end up with x squared minus x minus 6. I put my 2 down here in the corner. This is going to factor into x minus 3 times x plus 2. Bring back my 2. So this turns into, I multiply it by a 2 to get rid of the 2. So this turns into 2x minus 3 times x plus 1. So I'm either trying to make an x plus 1 or a 2x minus 3. Looks like they made a 2x minus 3 work over here. All right. So that was a lot of factoring review. There was a lot of factoring on that Kahoot. Starting with your review, I think this is one of the first problems on the review. It says simplify, right? Well, what do you have to do? Well, I have to use some exponent rules. I got to distribute over here. So I have negative, I have 6 to the 4th, right? So I get 1,296. I know it's going to be positive. I have x to the 2 times 4, which is 8. I have y to the 3 times 4, which is 12. On the bottom over here, now I multiply. So I add my exponents. I multiply my 8 times my 3. 8 times my 3 is 24. So this becomes 24x. 9 plus 1 is 10. y, 7 plus 5 is 12. Right, so now this is what I have. So I take my 1296 divided by 24. I get 54 x 8 minus x to the 10th. So I get x to the negative second. Y's completely cancel, right? So another way I can rewrite this is I can write 54 over x squared. 54 over x squared. Did I forget my negative? Should it be negative 54 over x squared? Or was it negative? I think it should be positive, should it not? 6 squared. Go back up for a second. Yeah, negative 6 to the 4th. That should be positive.
It's not an option on the
It's not an option on the review. All right, I don't know. I think I added a stray negative on there. That should be positive. That'll be fixed by tomorrow. All right, keep going. Next one, simplify the expression below. Give it in standard form. Well, this is just combining like terms here, right? So all we got to do, I like to change this to a positive and then change the signs. All right, so now I go through and I like to box. So here I have a negative 2x cubed. Well, I have a positive 3x cubed. So that's going to go to a positive x cubed. Then I have 9x. I always like to go in order. Negative 11x. So that's going to go to a negative 2x. Then I have, let's see, 18 and a negative 4. All right, so did I miss another term? No. Yes. X cubed. Where's my x squared term? Oh, I have one x squared term just on this side over here. So before that, I'll actually have a positive x squared, then a minus the 2x. I didn't see that guy. He didn't have anybody else with him. Then I have the plus 14, 18, and negative 4. So I get x cubed plus x squared minus 2x plus 14. So remember, just combining like terms, combining all those like terms. It's a subtraction, so make sure to distribute that negative sign. All right, next one. All right, this one's easy. Even degree polynomial that has a positive leading coefficient. So I need a parabola that opens up. The only parabola that opens up is C over here, right? And they both end up, right? So it has the parabola in behavior and it opens upward. So the answer to that one is C. That one's on your review packet as well. All these that we're about to go through are on your review packet. So keep going. All right. Didn't show up great. So this one's in your review packet. I need all the characteristics of this function, right? It is a third degree, a cubic polynomial, right? It can have up to 3 different zeros. It's in behavior, right? It has a positive, so as x goes to infinity, y is going to go to infinity. As x goes to negative infinity, y will go to negative infinity. Domain and range are both going to be all real numbers. You can find all the zeros. You're going to have to identify all of those. So Kaylee, will you go over to the this side and then just scroll down? So these are all the answers that you have to check. So it's a multiple selection. And again, this is in your review packet. You'll have to know your intervals, your increasing and decreasing. I would say best advice is to graph it, look in Desmos, make sure you have all of these. You're going to know how to classify it. So once you get one, check them. You're going to have to check a bunch of these. All right, and then keep going down. Oh, go back. Nope, keep going down. All right, 15. All right, this one is a long division problem. We got 9x squared minus 6x minus 8, 3x plus 2. What do I need to multiply here? Well, a 3x. When I do that, I get a 9x squared plus 6x. Right? So this cancels and this cancels since I subtract both of them. So I bring down my negative 8. Right? Wait, does that cancel? Minus. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, see, this is where I mess up on long division all the time. So this becomes a positive 6x, right? And then I subtract it, and it's already negative, so this is a negative 12x minus 8, because I have to distribute my negative sign when I do my long division, right? So this becomes negative 6x minus negative 6x, which gives you that negative 12x. 3x plus 2 goes into that. Negative 4 times. That gives me my negative 12x. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. I subtract all of that now. That turns it positive, positive, and they cancel. I get a remainder of 0. My quotient is 3x minus 4.
Can you do synthetic division with that?
No, because I have this leading coefficient. Now you could divide, you could make it x plus 2/3, and you could do synthetic division with this fraction. But I don't know, it may be harder to do it with a fraction. Does that make sense? All right, going on. All right, this one, you can do synthetic division on this one, yay. Remember I have x minus 2, so this goes to positive 2, 1, positive 6, negative 25. Bring down the 1, 2 times 1 is 2, 6 plus 2 is 8, 2 times 8 is 16. All right, negative 25 plus 16, you get 9, right? That's going to be my remainder. When I add my x terms, it's always one less, or my a terms in this case. So I'm going to get a plus 8, right, plus 9 over a minus 2.
Minus 9. Because negative 25.
Oh, sorry, this should be a negative 9, right? You're plus a negative or minus 9 over, yes, this should be a negative 9. Thank you, Gio. Good job. You're going to do good tomorrow. All right. Synthetic division, pretty easy. Number 16.
You just killed it with that.
This one is on the review as well, right? All right, another one on the review. You can do synthetic here. This one, I just want you to enter the remainder. So just find the remainder, man, and that is your answer. As you can see, it should be negative 5. But again, plus 7, so you're going to do a negative 7 out here. You're going to go 1, positive 3, negative 31, negative 26. So whatever is in this spot is going to be my answer. So I pull down the 1, negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. 3 plus negative 7 is negative 4. Negative 7 times negative 4 is a positive 28. Negative 31 plus 28 is a negative 3. Negative 7 times negative 3 is a positive 21. Negative 26 plus 21 is negative 5. And negative 5 is your remainder, men. It is your answer on this one. So, quick little synthetic division. So if you can do that factoring of leading coefficient and do your synthetic division, you should do really well on this test. All right, we can go to the next one. All right, this one, you need to put in the calculator. This is from your review. What you do, it's the same way you do it with everything, except now you're going to pick the type of equation and you want to do a quartic. So you're going to do a quartic equation and you're going to give me an estimate of the attendance. I will help you get this one started tomorrow during the test. I think these are important. They're the same on every different every equation. I know we haven't done any specific to this unit. We've done some linear and some quadratic. I'll help you. This is very important. Lines of best fit equations, but we'll do that tomorrow on the test day. Go ahead and go to the next one. All right. So what intervals is the functions increasing only? All right, this one, you need to graph. You need to look at the graph to see when those increasing intervals are. Do y'all want me to go open the graph and do Desmos, or y'all want me to go do all the math ones first?
Desmos. Oh, shit.
All right, we'll do all the math ones first. We'll come back to this one. You put that in Desmos. You look at those intervals where it's increasing and decreasing, right? It wants increasing intervals only. All right, continue to the next one. All right, solutions to the equation x cubed plus 512. Check all that apply. So here, what is x cubed plus 512? What is 512? Does anybody remember? 512 is 8 cubed, right? So now I have x cubed plus 8 cubed. Well, that's a sum of cubes. So my automatic factor rule on that, right, is going to be x plus 8, the same, then x squared minus, right, opposite, what is this, 8x, always plus, and it's going to be 64. Did I do that right? So one of my zeros is going to be at x equals negative 8, right? I can find that right away. X equals negative 8. The other two, right, are actually going to be imaginary. I'm going to have to complete the square to find these two other ones, right? Or do the quadratic formula, because now I'm left with this quadratic. So what do I have to do here? Well, I have x minus 8x plus a square equals 64 plus a square. Well, what's half of 8? Well, it's 4. 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to add 16 in my box. So this becomes x minus 4 squared equals 64 plus 16, which is, what is that, 80? 70, 80, right? So I get x squared, x minus 4 squared equals 80. I'm going to take the square root of both sides, right? Well, this just goes to x minus 4 equals, well, what is the square root of, oh shoot, I did this wrong. When I moved my 64 over, it should have been a negative, right? So this is negative 64. What is negative 64 plus 16? Negative 64 plus 16 is negative 48. So this should have been negative 48, right? Then I'm taking the square root of, don't forget your signs. So negative 48, what does that factor down to? Well, what can I break it apart as? 48 divided by 9? No. 48 divided by 16? Yeah, that works. So that becomes 3 and 16. What did I put 4? 3 and 16. 16 is 4 and 4. So I know this is going to go plus or minus 4 root 3. 3 has to stay home. The two 4s can go out front, right? Now I move my 4 over, right? So I have an I right here as well. I needed to take out an I to make it not negative. So now I have 4 square root of 3i, right? You can put your I like to put it in front. So when I add all the way over, right, I'm going to have 4 plus or minus 4i square root of 3. Those are my other two roots. So I have one root at -8, and then two imaginary here at 4 plus or minus 4i square root of 3. Does that make sense? Did I botch that one for y'all? All right, it's in the review as well. Sorry, I kind of ran out of space down here. But complete the square or the quadratic formula, work there. You get two imaginaries. This one's on your review packet as well. All right, got time for a couple more here. 10 more minutes, go down. All right, another one that's on the review. All right, a polynomial that has zeros of 3, multiplicity of 2. Well, what does that mean? Well, it has a 0 of 3, so I know it's got to be x minus 3, right? 0 of 3, so it has to be x minus 3. I have to subtract it. Multiplicity means I have two of those, so it's x minus 3 squared. All right, and -7, so I'm going to have an x plus 7, multiplicity 1, so just 1, right? So now I have these two binomials. All I have to do now is multiply everything out to get my answer. So you could do this any way you want. You could do x minus 3 times x minus 3. You should know how to do a squared, right? What is this going to be if it's x minus 3 squared? X squared minus 6x plus 9, right, times x plus 7. So now you really need to do your box. Oops. X cubed, negative 6x squared, 9x. We got 7x squared. We got, what is that? 6 times 7 is negative 54. X, 7 times 9 is 63. So when I combined all my like terms, I have an x cubed. I have a 1x squared. I have a negative 33x. And I have a plus 63. All right. So the hardest part was getting it, making sure you got your multiplicity right, making sure you got your signs right. If it's zeros are 3, it's x minus 3. If it's -7, it's x plus 7. Multiplicity means how many you have of them. All right. All right, continuing on. Almost there. All right, the product of the polynomial is 2x plus 3 and 5x squared minus 4x plus 20 can be written as ax to the 4th plus bx to the 3rd plus cx plus d, where a, b, and c enter what the c is in the box. So again, just like last time, right? You have a binomial times a trinomial. You want these coefficients. You're going to answer what a numeric answer of what c is. So whatever is with that x value. Create your box, multiply them out. Y'all can do this one. I don't have any worry about that. Make sure you identify the c. But that's it. All right, let's go to the next one since we're running a little low on time. All right, what are the factors of 64x cubed plus 125y to the 6th? So again, this is a sum of cubes, right? Sum of cubes. Well, what is 64? What's the cube root of 64? So cube root of 64 is 4, so I get 4x cubed over here plus, what is my b here? Well, 125, that's got to be 5. Now I have y to the 6th. What is going to be the cube root of y to the 6th? Remember, what do I do with exponents? I multiply them, right? So this will be, if it's 3 times 2, that gives me to 6, right? So this will be y squared. So you had to know that you're going to get to 4x cubed and 5y squared cubed. Now that I have both of these cubes, the first one is easy. It's the same sign, right? So it's 4x plus 5y squared, right? Then we do a squared, right? So that's 16x squared. Then we do opposite sign. We do a times b, which is 20xy squared. Then it's always plus on the last one, and it's b squared, which is 25y to the 4th. So that's the sum of cubes. That's our automatic. Remember, it goes, right? Same, opposite, always plus. The last on the sum of cubes is always a plus, the last sign. And it's just a plus b times a squared minus b, or ab plus b squared. All right. Same, opposite, always plus. All right, go on to the last one. All right, last one takes a little bit. We have a big long equation. It asks for factors. I'm going to do a few of these. I think the best way to do it is synthetic division. So if you go over here, move a little bit over to the left. Move this a little bit over to the, yeah. So you have all single digit factors except for this last one that is x squared minus 11. So what I should suggest, start doing all the single ones, right, with synthetic division, and then keep your quotients. So for example, on this very first one up at the top, now move back over to the problem so I can see it. Sorry. All right. So the first one is x minus 3, right? Which is going to give me a positive 3 out here. I'll have a 1, a negative 23, negative 11, and a positive 132. I didn't need to do a positive 132. Bring your 1 down first. All right, so I get 1 here. Next, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus, or negative 23 plus a positive 12 gives you negative 11. 3 times negative 11 is negative 33. Negative 11 plus negative 33 is negative 44. 3 times negative 44 is negative 132. So what happened here is I got a 0, right? That means that one is a factor. Now, what I can do though, I can go put all my x values in. So this is going to be x cubed. This is going to be x squared minus 11x minus 44. And I know if I continue to factor this, everything will work as well. So the next one, I should probably just try to use this. But you keep going, check all your factors. You can put this into Desmos and look at your x-intercepts as well. But that's everything that's on the test. A lot of factoring, some synthetic division, some knowing general knowledge about polynomials. Nothing too crazy. Y'all have any questions? It is 4:29. I did it all in 1 minute. All right, let's upload this bad